Hello all. Sorry for not uploading for 2 months. I got amnesia, but like a super targeted strain that only affected my memory of the fact that I have a YouTube channel and nothing else. Pretty lucky that one actually, it could have been worse. This video is going to be a tutorial on how to do fairly decent view model arms for Left 4 Dead 2 player models. Or Gary's mod as well, I guess. You could apply the same principles there. See, I've noticed that like most view model arms on the workshop are awful, and that doesn't make too much sense to me, right? Because the reason that I'm thinking as to why they're so bad is that the people making it don't really care, because it's like, oh, it's the view arms, who cares? The 3D third-person model is what you care about, right? Which is fair enough, but the view model arms are going to be on your screen most of the time, right? They're going to be, if you play as the character, they're going to be big on the screen, and a lot of the times on the screen. And so if they're bad, you're going to be looking at a bad thing for a while, so might as well make them good. This video is going to be split into 2 parts, the first one itself being 2 parts. The first part will be about the hands themselves, and the second part will be about the sleeves. For the hands themselves, we've got 2 ways of doing it, and they depend whether your hand is meant to have like a texture on it or not, right? If it's just a flat color, you're going to want to use the first method, which is what I'm about to show. Of course, the best way to do view model arms is take one of the default arms and just edit the UV to match whatever character's texture sheet is. This tutorial is going to be under the assumption that you don't know how to do that, because I don't know how to do that, so, you know. Hey look, it's that one character from the Yoru anime. I've never seen it. Anyway, what you'll notice about this character's hands are that they're pretty much flat. I mean, I think it was made with Vroid Studio, which just does that for the hands. But if we take a look, I mean, there's a little bit there. There's something vaguely with the texture, but it's so minor that, like, no one will ever notice it. So, how do you set up arms for this? Simple. First, you're going to want to import one of the default Left 4 Dead 2 arms. If your character's a guy or has larger arms, you're going to want to use Ellis. If it's a woman / has smaller hands, then you want to use Rochelle. In my case, Makima is a woman, I think, so Rochelle it is. So here we are. I'm going to remove the bracelets, because it's Rochelle, we don't need those. Leave vertices. And then this is the easy part. I'm just going to make her use the Makima texture of my character. Then go into UV editing. Select all this with A, M, at center, and then just move that to there. Boom. And just like that, the hands of your character are done, and they're perfect, because they're literally identical to the default Left 4 Dead arms that all animations are based on, right? So, you're good to go. So yeah, so this is the easiest way to do it. However, it won't work if your character actually has like a genuine texture on their hand. How do we deal with that if they do? Hey look, it's a black guy. I never played House of the Dead, I don't know who this is. Anyway, if we take a look at his hands, they look interesting, but more importantly, they actually have a texture to them. They look like, I don't know, actual arms. So, how do we deal with that? Why is your UV over there? What? Again, this is done under the assumption that you don't know how to UV the default arms, so what are we gonna do? Simple. My pride and joy. Mesh data transfer. Since this is a man, I'm going to import Elsa's hands. First, you're going to import the idle animation of the arms themselves. It'll be in the decompile bit. New anims, import idle.smd. It will snap his spine in half, but it doesn't matter, because I'm not going to be using this later anyway. Duplicate the mesh, move them into your arms collection. Then we're going to go into pose mode, pose, clear transform location. You're going to want to do that for the fingers in particular, and then apply the armature. And now you just want to cut out everything that isn't the hands / arms themselves. Cool. Now we're going to want to move these hands onto Ellis's. Going to want to move that into position. Doesn't have to be perfect, but it has to be close enough. Now you only actually have to do, if your character's UV is the same for both hands, you only really need to do one, and then just mirror it later. Anyway, this is a start for sure. Not a good start, but one nonetheless. So, where do we go from here? Well, we are going to want to sculpt these hands to be as close to Ellis's as we can get. Doesn't have to be perfect, but it has to be good enough. So just go into sculpt mode, zoom out, pick elastic to form or whatever you think is easiest, and just get to work. Cool. Now I think that this is close enough to Ellis's hands. Not perfect, obviously, but it's decent enough. So, what do we do from here? We use my favorite thing in the world. Mesh Data Transfer. Click on Mesh Data Transfer. You want to go on Shape, World, and then pick Ellis's hands, or Rochelle's, depends on who you're using. Okay, then just press Transfer Mesh Data. Like that, it'll be a lot closer to Ellis's hands now than it was before. Some things will look worse, in my case the fingers are a little fucked right now, but that's not all too difficult to fix even manually. Then all you want to do is transfer the vertex groups, and like that your view model arms are practically done. In my case I gotta fix that, but your hands will be shaped like the original survivors. It will have the rigging of the original survivors. By all accounts, this is as good as it can really get without, putting in that much effort, which is what I'm all about. Then for the other arm you can just mirror this and then slightly change its position, but otherwise you're practically done. With that selected, with that arm selected, we're just going to copy the shape again, but make sure to click this little arrow here. Okay, and we're done. That's all made to view model arms complete. So yeah, that's how you make fairly decent hands themselves. Now to move on to sleeves. Hey look, it's Osaka. She has sleeves, and I'm gonna need to make a view model for this eventually, so first copy the mesh, move it into the collection with your hands in them. Same premise as before, remove everything that isn't the arms. Then you're gonna want to move these over your character's arms to be roughly the same shape. Okay, that'll do. Then we're just gonna go into sculpt mode, same as before. Gonna mirror on the X and just sculpt it a little bit to be more in shape with your character. Cool, that'll do. Now, for the rigging. Back to mesh data transfer. Now, who you pick for rigging it matters quite a lot, actually. I find that the best one, surprisingly, is Francis. You'd think it'd be Ellis or Rochelle, because they're Left 4 Dead 2, but no. I think that it's actually Left 4 Dead 1 Francis who looks the best with this sort of thing. I'm gonna delete his hands, so we only have the arms. Delete faces. And same as before, just mesh data transfer from that guy. Yep, that looks rigged to me. Then I'm just gonna remove everything that isn't the hands, because we don't need it. So like that. Merge at the center here, just in case. That's my view model arms done for this character. Well, they're not, I need to do an outline, but other than that, they're done. So yeah, that's how you make decent hands themselves for characters, and how to make decent sleeves for characters. Hopefully, I'll see at least one slightly decent view model arm after this. Okay, bye, time to not upload for like another 8 years.